Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Celestial Tree. I'm an astrologer, intuitive reader, and soul psychologist as well. And today we are going to be talking about a transit that I have literally been talking about this whole year. And that is Pluto finally moving into Aquarius. We're going to be talking about what that could mean collectively, generally, and then I'm going to talk about what this transit will mean for all 12 signs. So if you haven't heard anything about this transit up until now, I'm going to try and give you all the information in this video, and the information that I will be giving you in this video is also available on my website, on the Celestial blog, where I basically talk about how each sign can tap into their personal power during this Pluto and Aquarius transit. So if you want to read your full horoscope, you can head over there and it will be there for you to read. So before I get started, it's time for the gentle reminder that if you would like a reading from me, you can book with me on my website at celestialhealingrealm.com. And yeah, remember to subscribe to my channel because it's a new channel, and I know I've taken a bit of a break from it, but I'm back now. So yeah, follow me for more spiritual tips and astrology updates as well. So I'm trying to contain my excitement because part of being an astrologer is feeling like super excited about something that you know is coming, and everyone else being like, what's the deal? So I'm gonna explain to you guys like what the significance of this transit is and what we can kind of come to expect over really the next 19 years. It's a really long transit, so I'm really excited for this Pluto's ingression into Aquarius, because it signifies the end of an era. Pluto has finally wrapped up all of its work in Capricorn. And a little bit about Pluto. Pluto is the god of the underworld. It takes what is like hidden away in the shadows and in the depths, and it brings it up into the surface, like into the light, so that everybody can see what's really going on, if that makes sense. So we are going to talk about dates in a minute, but Pluto being in Capricorn for all these years has had a really, really significant impact. So if you think of like Capricornian themes, so things like the government bodies, big corporations, the big systems and structures and establishments that we rely on as humans, so many things have been revealed about those things. Like there's been so many like secrets, so many backdoor stuff that's come to light, which is just, obviously it's not been like pleasant the whole way through, but a lot of these structures that we rely on as humans have actually, Pluto's kind of attempted to tear them down in a way. That is the nature of Pluto, tearing down these structures so that they can kind of rebuild into something better. And whether that rebuilding is gonna work for the benefit of the people is something that we will probably find out when Pluto is making his way through Aquarius. So yeah, political structures have also been exposed. Political structures have actually been torn down quite intensely, because with Pluto there's like an intensity to Pluto that you don't really get with other planets. Maybe Saturn, maybe sometimes Uranus, but there is a intensity to the way that these things have been torn down, or exposed in some way. And we've also seen like oligarchical structures as well. Oligarchical structures in so many different industries, including the entertainment industry. If you know, you know. So many secrets and so many like just wild stuff has come out about certain aspects of different industries, especially when there's like an oligarchical structure to them. So with Pluto entering into Aquarius, we can kind of expect that same Plutonian energy of tearing things down, and transforming things and bringing things to light, we can kind of expect that same energy to be applied to more Aquarian themes. So when we think of Aquarius, we think of communities. And I don't doubt that through Pluto's transit through Aquarius, we're probably going to see a lot of exposing of like the darker side of a lot of communities. I'm not trying to be controversial, but there is a dark side to a lot of stuff we don't necessarily see. When it comes to certain communities, we kind of always get this like polished, refined version of what we kind of just get that side. And I feel like with Pluto going into Aquarius, a lot of communities will have some of that under kind of darker side being exposed. Because Pluto is really good at bringing things to light. So yeah, Aquarius energy, revolution, rebellion, scientific and technological revelations as well. These are all things that have happened when Pluto was last in Aquarius, like hundreds of years ago. So I think the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was between 1778 and 1798. So if you want to do a deep dive on what the tea was during that stint of like Pluto and Aquarius, is wild. So I'm just giving you the dates because I know that some of you are going to want to kind of look into the historical context of this transit. But yeah, the reason why, and we're going to talk about dates. So the reason why this transit is so significant is because Pluto is the slowest moving planet. And it takes anywhere between 12 to 30 years to move through just one zodiac sign. And it also takes Pluto around 248 years to traverse the whole zodiac wheel. The whole zodiac. So that's what makes Pluto's impact, historical and generational impact, so big and so significant. So we've kind of had several tastes of Pluto and Aquarius in the last year and a half. We had our first taster of it between March 21st of 2023 and June 11th of that same year. And then we've had another taster of it between January 20th of this year and September 1st. So, and a lot has happened already. A lot has gone on, like, you know, we've had leaps and bounds in the areas of AI. We've had leaps and bounds in the areas of augmented reality. We've had a lot of talks about if and how and when we should regulate these industries that I've just mentioned. And of course we should regulate them. That's just what I think. We've also had a lot of strike action as well. I've mentioned this before, but Aquarius is the sign of the people. And especially here in the UK, we've had so many strikes in so many different areas of like public life and so many different industries. And we've also had a rise in like really deep polarization. And if you're a psychology buff, you'll know about like in-group, out-group dynamics, and how obviously polarization is not fantastic. And in-group, out-groups can be very, very problematic. And I feel like with Aquarius, yes, we'll see a rise in like solidarity, but we'll also see a rise in like that in-group, out-group, us versus them type of mentality. So, and that will also, even though it's a mentality, it will also play out into just daily life and the stuff that you're going to hear about in the news over the next 19 years. What else have we seen? We've had really incredible developments in terms of space travel. Space travel, yes, but like space exploration in general. We've also had really, I don't want to say, maybe progress, okay, if I can speak. Maybe progressive is not the right word, but in terms of like social media, a lot has happened around social media, how it's regulated, what its impact is. And I feel like we're going to get a lot more of those sorts of conversations just throughout just throughout this 19-year long transit. So yeah, Pluto officially heads into Aquarius on November 19th of this month, so in a few days, where it will stay until March 8th, 2043. I did see a date that said early January 2044, but that's just because of like the retrograde cycles and stuff. We're not going to get into that. So here is what it means for each sign personally, and I'm going to give you guys some information on how you can tap into your personal power during this 19-year long Pluto and Aquarius transit. And please do remember to listen to both your sun sign and your rising sign as well. Aries suns and Aries risings. So Pluto will be roaming through for 19 years your 11th house of friends, groups, long-term goals for the future. And I feel like that's it's super, super significant for you, because I feel like you might almost find yourself, because Pluto can kind of bring about a sense of like obsession, like we get really like intense and really passionate about what it is we're doing, and I feel like you might find yourself almost obsessed with kind of like improving the state of the world, especially in regards to like the stuff that's already happened, not just this year but how forever. So I feel like with your natural born sort of leader qualities, you're going to be considering, how can I make a change that's going to benefit and progress humanity in some way? And I feel like if you utilize the energy well, you can produce some really, really good outcomes while you're on your sort of quest for like deeper meaning and purpose. And I feel like your own ideals and beliefs, especially after Pluto sort of is making its way through Aquarius, because this is a very gradual transit, I feel like your beliefs could feel really, really close to your heart. And I do feel like your future dreams and your goals for the future are going to undergo quite a dramatic shift, which is exciting for the most part. You might even find yourself sort of letting go of goals that no longer serve you, just so that you can build goals that are more aligned with who you are now and who you're going to become during this transit as well. There's also a chance of like fated encounters, which is good, because those encounters will lead you to people, places and experiences that inspire you to sort of review and reassess those long-term goals that you decide to keep on the horizon. And there's a lot of opportunity for like self-growth and development through the social connections that you're going to make. And I do want to say, actually, with this Pluto transit, I want you to kind of keep in mind that you need to be mindful of your friendships and social circles while Pluto is in Aquarius. You might be taking your social connections a lot more serious, but there are going to be some tests that Pluto sort of throws your way in terms of like intense and unsavory energies finding their way into your social circles, exposing like cracks and like power dynamics and just complicated stuff that might have been building over time with some of your friends. So as Pluto kind of brings these issues to the surface, I want you to remember that the greatest transformations will always manifest themselves in the form of like stronger bonds and deeper connections. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, because I feel like you're going to be okay. Aries, you're going to be okay. But I just wanted to make you aware of that. But yeah, if you learn to navigate these friendship challenges, and if you learn to navigate like your future dreams and really plan, then you're gonna be all right. Taurians, Taurus suns and Taurus risings. This is gonna be a very powerful and very necessary transit for you in regards to your 10th house of public image, reputation, status, and career. I feel like when it comes to finding deeper significance in your professional life, you're going to be carefully examining your professional circumstances, and you might even develop or even like discover new goals, or connect with career goals that might have been like sort of like at the back of your mind, or at the back, you know, sometimes things are not on our radar. I feel like you're going to be really like in tune with what it is that you want professionally speaking. It is very possible, because of Pluto's transformational nature, it's very possible that you might find yourself on a brand new career path, and I feel like there might be a birth of a new professional path as a result of some power struggles with those in authoritative positions. So like bosses and parents, I feel like through those sort of power struggles, you're going to kind of emerge and be like, I'm just going to find freedom and do what I want to do. So, which is great. What I will say is that if you are having these power struggles and sort of getting to grips with these power dynamics, kind of lean into that energy, allow room for it in your heart. And I feel like even though it will be hard initially, it will kind of bring you further in alignment with your own unique and divine life path. I know you know what I'm saying there. So you're going to be releasing things like old patterns, unhelpful behaviors, fears of underperforming, and internal pressures as well when it comes to like your personal growth. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of release, but there's also going to be a lot of transformation as well. And you're going to build a lot of strength and a lot of character. Sorry. I just ate. Taurus, you get what I'm saying. But you're going to build a lot of strength and character through navigating these issues with like grace and self-control. And by doing so, you're going to allow yourself to kind of embrace a new sense of purpose. And by kind of the end of the transit, your professional life will be a lot more authentic and a lot more heart focused and a lot more soul led as well, which is important, I feel like. So what I would say is find healthy ways of switching off and detoxing, because that's going to be really important for your well-being, especially when you're trying to make things happen professionally. So yeah, I just want to remind you that you are so much more than what you do for others. You're so much more than your success and your productivity. So just keep that in mind. Gemini suns, and my fellow Gemini risings, I hope we're doing okay. This is a big one for us. Can I say us? This is a big one because Pluto is going to go through your ninth house of higher learning, beliefs, and overseas travel as well. So I want you to kind of lean into, just try and expect changes, really profound changes to your belief system as a result of the things that you will learn over the 19 years and the places that you will travel to over the next 19 years. So you're going to be gaining a lot of wisdom and a lot of maturity through you carefully sort of reevaluating your own cultural and societal conditioning is the right word. I was going to say beliefs, but I feel like conditioning is we're all, we've all been conditioned in some way. While Pluto kind of makes its way through your ninth house, whatever books you read, whatever classes you take, whatever destinations you make your way to overseas, you're going to have such deep internal transformations. And I feel like you'll have some really intense perspectives. Okay, start again. You'll have really intense perspective shifting experiences during your classes and your travels. And I feel like if you are studying as well, Pluto-esque subjects like psychology, sex, research, science, all of those kind of like Plutonian kind of subjects are going to be really, really beneficial for you to kind of like satiate that quest for like more knowledge and more understanding of yourself. I would also say that when it comes to looking within as well, while Pluto is in Aquarius, when you're making steps to kind of heal your own sort of buried traumas. That's going to be really beneficial for you in terms of making sure that you're closer in alignment with your own personal spiritual path. I feel like sometimes we will ignore shadow work because it's kind of like a bit too deep, right? But I feel like this is going to be part of the process. So really getting to grips with some of the things that have happened in your life that you're not super comfortable addressing and acknowledging. That's going to be really good for like renewing your sense of purpose. So I know you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, your opportunities for growth and how you're harnessing your personal power during this transit is going to be how you integrate your newfound knowledge through those travels and those classes and those books, and integrating that knowledge and those experiences into your core being. That's going to set you on your path for like personal evolution tenfold, right? So I say this to say it's also a really good time to share your divine revelations. So share them, talk about them, promote them, publish them, write them down. Everything that you learn during this cycle, I want you to be able to like express that. That's going to be really beneficial, not just for you, but for people who look to you for support and for clarity and for understanding. You're gonna probably, if you do share, you're gonna probably reach a lot of different souls with your guidance, with your insights. And the last thing I would say is watch for Pluto has a tendency to kind of make us a little bit obsessive with things. So watch for like an over attachment to your belief system. And keep in mind that there's millions of ideologies and truths that contribute to like a greater understanding and like the greater truth of the collective. We all just sort of have fragments of the all, if that makes sense. So just keep in mind that, you know, even though you're learning and you're processing and you're experiencing, you're also never going to stop learning as well. You're always going to be a student of life. Cancerians, Cancer suns and Cancer risings. Prepare for Pluto to take you on a wild ride. It's going to probably gradually transform the area of your natal chart, so your 8th house, which rules over shared resources, intimacy, and the psyche as well. A few things could happen over the next 19 years, so I want to walk you through it so that you feel fully prepared. There is a chance that you might encounter some issues related to like joint finances and debts and investments. When I say shared resources, I don't mean your personal finances, I mean resources that you share with others. But the good thing is that this transit will significantly kind of like shift your attitudes towards dependency and the handling of finances and the way that you treat yourself and treat your bank account, which is good. So there could be some positive and negative experiences with shared resources. So that could be a partner's finances. And I feel like your support systems, because I know Cancer, I know you have them. If you don't have them, you're building them. Your support systems will probably provide a lot of meaningful and necessary opportunities for like personal growth and development. So the more you lean on others, the more you'll be able to sort of navigate some of these challenges and these experiences. It's a fantastic time to settle debts, settle loans, as well as, like I said, the 8th house is also to do with the psyche. So it is a good time to get to grips with the deeper aspects of your emotional body and your mental body. So I feel like you're going to be pursuing clarity in terms of your own psychology and kind of coming to terms with a lot of your fears, a lot of your insecurities, a lot of your even desires. Pluto is a lot to do with what we desire. And that's going to be really important for your self-development. So yeah, looking after your mind, your body, and your spirit developing new self-care practices and well-being check-ins, they're going to go a long way during the next 19 years. The 8th house also rules over intimacy. I told you I'm going to walk you through it. The 8th house also rules over intimacy. So I want you to be aware that your relationship to intimacy and to sex might face some changes as well. You might feel like your desires in that area are not really being met. They're not really like being satiated in the way that you need. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff to kind of unpack and kind of dismantle, and it might feel like sometimes you're kind of wading through, you know, in the movies when you're like, when they're wading through this tunnel and there's all these cobwebs. That's how it's going to feel a little bit. So take your time. What I would say is, whether you're in a partnership or not, try and explore your passions, and take mental notes on how your explorations look how awkward I am, explorations might be like having an impact on your psyche in general, and let those mental notes kind of add value to your personal journey where applicable. Leos, Leo suns and Leo risings, make way for Pluto. So Pluto is going to take you on such a journey, and it's going to be full of ups and downs. But Pluto is gonna make its way through your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, contracts, and marriage. So it is very possible that your life might completely transform as a result of a partnership. It could be a new partnership, could be an existing one. There's also a strong possibility that your one-to-one relationships, if they're outdated, they will kind of fall by the wayside, which is good because that makes way for more authentic and substantial connections with people that value you for who you are at your core. And I know that's really important to you, Leos. I know that. You could also find yourself in a power struggle with both new connections and old connections. This is relationship wise. What I will say is that feelings of things like jealousy, possessiveness, fear of loss, these are all things that are not uncommon with Pluto going through that sort of 7th house space. And I feel like even though you're going to come up against some of the darker elements of being in a relationship, it's a really good time to utilize your personal power by finding that inner voice. I know you generally don't have an issue with expressing yourself, but sometimes in relationships it's a bit of a tricky thing to navigate. So try and utilize your unique methods of self-expression and mold the structures of your connections to how you want them to be, you know? I feel like the more you express yourself with these partnerships and these intimate connections, that will allow you to kind of discover your own inner voice and inner power and grow in confidence. Not that you need more confidence, but do you get what I mean? It's always good to have more confidence. So yeah, navigating your romantic affairs with like self-awareness and open communication, that's going to be really beneficial to you. And I feel like doing that will bring really strong opportunities for personal growth and development as well. I also want you to take the time to explore maybe some of the root of the fears that you have in terms of relationships, and some of the desires that you have in terms of relationships as well. But yeah, remember to take the utmost care of your heart while Pluto is going through that 7th house space. Virgos, Virgo suns and Virgo risings. How are we doing? How are we doing? So Pluto is going to be traveling, making its way through your 6th house of physical health, I know, daily routines and work as well. So you might find yourself even more so focused on things like your physical condition. I feel like you're going to be even more so researching and investigating sort of like holistic healing practices. There might be some unexpected like health challenges over the next 19 years, nothing too like wild, but those challenges present themselves for you to kind of explore alternative methods to healing, and I feel like that's going to lead to a really big transformation of the way that you treat your physical body, and your relationship, your mind body relationship. I feel like you're going to prioritize a lot of self-improvement stuff, which is good. Pluto has a tendency to make us kind of obsessive. I wouldn't obsess over it. I would be mindful of that. But it's certainly going to be a priority. And I feel like you're going to be learning more about how your daily routines influence your mind-body relationship. Yeah. In terms of work, though, there could be some unprocessed feelings that kind of make their way up to the surface. What I mean by that is when it comes to things like fears, resentment, pressures, power struggles with colleagues and things like that. Those are things that are likely to come up during this Pluto and Aquarius transit. And that might spur you into changing your job or changing your work environment altogether. What I will say is please watch out for increased pressures. Sometimes it's not even outside pressure, it's like internal pressure. Watch for internal pressures and overworking, because that can actually, that can exacerbate health issues and stuff like that. So what I would say is allow space in your heart for changes to how you view healing, changes to how you approach work and how you approach your daily routines, and that will eventually kind of lead to more growth and also personal fulfillment in your day-to-day life, which I know you're all about that. So yeah, if you go with kind of the Pluto flow then you could kind of find yourself in a whole new space mentally, physically, emotionally as well, which will not only benefit you at work, but it will also benefit you and your well-being on a more personal level. Libras, Libra suns and Libra risings. So there's some, how do I say, significant life lessons on their way to you, Libra, with Pluto kind of like traversing your fifth house. So this sector of your chart, the fifth house, rules over child rearing, it rules over creative expression, pleasure, fun, hobbies, and also romance and dating as well. So you're going to be investing a lot of time and energy into these areas of your life, and you're also going to be overcoming a lot of fears that you might have in these areas of your life as well. It is very possible that you might find yourself kind of struggling to fully embrace pleasure and fully like let loose, because even letting loose might feel a little bit forced in some ways. So you're gonna kind of be grappling with that. Your love life, I know. Your love life is probably going to be filled with a lot of drama, a lot of excitement, as you kind of like explore new romantic connections from a place of kind of like increased self-awareness. I don't feel like you're going to be settling, and I know this is going to sound like, what are you saying? But I don't feel like you're going to be settling for like mediocre forms of like romance and attentiveness from people. I feel like with Pluto here and how intense and passionate Pluto is, I feel like you're going to be craving a lot more passion and a lot more intensity and a lot more like, all or nothing type of thing. So you might kind of like feel yourself almost transforming into this like new person as a result of sort of like your romantic encounters, especially if those romantic encounters are like mediocre and lukewarm. You're gonna kind of step away from that being like, no, that's not enough for me. you know. So you're gonna be letting go of a lot of like behaviors and patterns that no longer kind of serve your highest good in these areas. If you are creative, or if you have hobbies and things like that, Pluto's influence can help you have almost like a creative rebirth, where your artistic expression and your artistic style and how you go about making art kind of flourishes with a lot more authenticity. And I feel like if you do, over the next 19 years, enter into a space where you have kind of like creative block or like mind fog, then what I would say is make an effort to try and actively cleanse your mind, and set the intention to kind of like return to that creative space, if that makes sense. Set an intention to try and create something positive, as you're kind of making your way through those creative journeys. So yeah, focus on what you enjoy doing. I know it might be a little bit difficult to kind of like really let loose and have fun over the next 19 years. But I do feel like who you're going to meet and where you're going to go is going to be kind of like an endless source of inspiration. And you're going to feel, especially towards the end of that Pluto and Aquarius transit, Libras, you're going to feel a lot more deeply. But you see the way my brain works. You're going to feel a lot more connected to your passions and to your hobbies, and to what you want, like in a romantic sense. Scorpios, Scorpio suns and Scorpio risings. So Pluto is going to be going through your fourth house. So I want you to kind of get ready for a 19-year-long shake-up in the areas of residency, family, personal life, the past. I feel like the connections that you have with your family members might undergo some really dramatic changes during this transit. And Pluto is going to kind of encourage you to review your role within the family sphere. You know, in families, everybody has their kind of like role. This might be a time over the next 19 years where you take on additional responsibility, or you're providing a lot more support to your family, and that's actually going to help you grow in confidence. I know sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to chill in my room and just be. It's ultimately going to help you grow in confidence as a person. That being said, it's not without its challenges. You might find yourself in kind of like power struggles with family. The same family that you will pour your support into might also, what am I trying to say? Might also be like not super happy with that additional responsibility, like with your new role in the family and with your newfound confidence. And I want you to keep in mind that asserting your independence will be the key here. And by the end of this transit, your relationship with your family might be completely transformed for the better. So I also, the fourth house also rules over the past. So I want to say that it might do you some good to explore some of the core beliefs that you have from childhood. Beliefs related to your own intrinsic sense of security. That's going to be really good during the next 19 years. There could be also some deep-rooted sort of issues connected to the family that you need to explore in order for you to evolve the way that your inner self is calling you to evolve. I know you know what I'm talking about. So on the home front, residence-wise, whether it's through renovations or moving home, your living space might get like transformed in some way. There could be some issues with your living space. There could be some things that require you to like DIY a little bit, or you're going to be calling people to come and fix what needs to be fixed. But what I would say is go with the flow when it comes to matters of the home, and even with the matters of the family as well, and you will basically emerge with more authenticity and compassion for not just yourself, but for your living space and for the people around you as well. Sagittarians, Sagittarius suns and Sagittarius risings. I hope we're good. It is very much time for a mental upgrade with this Pluto and Aquarius transit. So Pluto is going to be entering your third house of communication, siblings, studies, local community, and like short distance travel. So traveling within your community or your own country. So the next nearly 2 decades, really, it's going to be a period of really intense self-reflection where you're going to realize how much weight your words hold. And you might find that learning how to communicate more authentically becomes increasingly important as Pluto sort of makes its way through that third house space. So I feel like on a soul level, you're probably gonna prefer like deeper conversations, deeper debates, deeper like things that are not super surface level, and like you're gonna be like, small talk, I don't want to hear it, don't want to know. So yeah, those around you might also be taking your thoughts and ideas and your opinions a lot more seriously. And I feel like with Pluto in this third house space, it is a really good time to try and persuade, I say try and persuade, you don't really need to try, but persuade others to kind of see your unique viewpoints. So you're going to have a lot of interesting conversations with loads of different people from like diverse backgrounds, which is right up your street, really. And those experiences are going to kind of become catalysts for deeper thinking and better decision making in general. So that's fantastic. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is that the third house also rules over siblings. So you could transform a relationship with your sibling, or you could transform your relationship with your local community by kind of getting more involved. And it's a really powerful time for like personal growth and deeper understanding of yourself through like study, reading, taking like classes and stuff like that. So what I would say is take the classes, read the books, go out into your local community. That's going to kind of uncover new, fresh perspectives and kind of like hidden truths that are like, they're almost waiting for you to discover them in a way. So yeah, you might even start a podcast. Like you might feel compelled to share your own truths and talk about your passions and your desires and your experiences. So start that podcast if you're considering it. I also feel like it's possible that you will feel called to use that sort of mental power, the new mental power, to transform like different areas of your life. So the more you integrate your new knowledge and your new experiences, that can kind of have a knock-on effect for other areas of your life. So try and stay focused, keep the bigger picture in mind, and let me know how it goes. Capricorn suns and Capricorn risings. Pluto will be making its way through your second house, which is going to allow you to reevaluate your relationship to finances, material possessions, and self-worth. There might be a lot of life lessons on the horizon in terms of loss, control issues, possessiveness, and these challenges kind of present themselves for you to be able to acknowledge that there's some internal work that needs to be done in terms of like how you view things like possessions and control and things like that. I think learning how to manage these things will be really, really beneficial, and letting go of things, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, that's going to lead you to like really deep transformative experiences, and it's going to have a knock-on effect and kind of allow for positive shifts in the areas of like self-worth, which is really, really valuable. And I feel like while you're continuing to build inner strength, and work on almost becoming your own personal, you're becoming your own source of personal security. Your security is not external to you. You're going to be on a journey to realizing that you are your own you're your own safety net. I feel like I would make it known that keep an eye out for feelings of like lack, and lack mentality, feelings of sentimentality as well, holding you back from like truly like stepping into that space of like, I'm my own security, I'm my own, foundation. So yeah, just expect like mixed financial situations. They're there to sort of encourage you to ask yourself if you've put money on like an invisible pedestal, and kind of had it in your mind that money is unattainable in some way, or it's hard to attain, and maybe not unattainable for you guys, but hard to attain in some way. And examining your relationship with money is going to bring you a new perspective on not just what your personal values are, but also, like I said before, that sense of security. So yeah, with Pluto in that second house space, you also, the good news is that you might find your money making instincts are a lot better, a lot stronger. And you might find that through that deep sort of internal work, in terms of like your relationship with money and security, you can use those money making instincts to acquire the necessary resources to really ensure financial stability and create a really solid financial foundation. So yeah, it's also a really good time to discover new talents that can be monetized in a way. So keep an eye out for that, and yeah, let me know how it goes. Aquarius suns and Aquarius risings. So this is going to be quite an intense period of internal transformation and self-discovery, because Pluto is going into your sign. Pluto is going into your first house of identity, ego, and your life path, and also your physical body as well. So you're going to be leaving behind a lot of what no longer serves you, which is always fantastic, and reclaiming a lot of your personal power from people, places, and things that you might have given it away to. So yeah, Pluto's energy can lead to some intense feelings and emotions. And while you're kind of confronting your shadow side, or some of the deeper, darker parts of yourself, and your psyche, it might get a little bit uncomfortable at times, and it's going to feel a little bit challenging, but it does require a willingness to kind of accept change, and a willingness to shed and let go of those old parts of yourself, which I know you get what I'm saying, right? So you're going to be stepping into a more authentic space, and that's going to allow you to take a lot more control over your life and find a sense of self-empowerment. What I would say though is resist the urge to control. And embrace a lot of these opportunities for like self-development and personal growth. So how you handle this newfound sort of personal power that Pluto is going to sort of inject into your core being, that's going to make a difference on the quality of the outcomes of all this inner work that you're doing. And I want you to try and not to view it as like a battleground, and try and look at it as like a school for learning more about yourself and learning how best to transform your life for the better. That's what Pluto is all about. Another thing, you might find that people, especially over the next 19 years, find your presence either really, especially after doing all this inner work, they might find your presence either really, really intriguing or really, really intimidating, and really, really intense, because you're going to have like a newfound strength of character in a way. And that's especially true for Aquarius risings. I want you to kind of go away, have a look at your chart and see what degree your ascendant is, and see at what point over the next 19 years Pluto is going to hit that ascendant, because that is when you're going to have that really big injection of strength and power. So yeah, this transit could also spark a reshaping of your physical form, and you might find yourself carving out a new personal image that aligns more with your core authentic self. Pisceans, Pisces suns, my fellow Pisces suns, how are we? And Pisces risings, it's a big one. It's a big one. Pluto is going to be traveling through our can I say our 12th house of all things hidden, endings, mental health and the subconscious space, and spirituality as well. Also rest and rest rest and rejuvenation, recharging. So there's going to be so many upcoming opportunities for profound emotional and spiritual growth, which I know we're like fantastic, but let me walk you through the process. So the way that you go about harnessing your personal power might be through getting in touch with kind of like old unaddressed issues and taking time to work through them. You might kind of begin a period of really deep exploration of your own psyche, really assessing your relationship to the past, with a lot of self-honesty, and a lot of sensitivity. I know that's in our nature, but really being really gentle and compassionate while you're exploring some of the kind of like blind spots. That's the 12th house. Blind spots and things that are kind of like buried and unaddressed. So you might feel like an intense need to focus on spiritual growth and psychological development through things like shadow work, talking therapies, journaling, all that good stuff. And you might start out by, because the 12th house is to do with what's hidden, you might start out by really kind of keeping these things to yourself in a way. Only to kind of find out later on that if you are more open and direct about what you're doing internally, then people would be able to like support you through that, and it would have been a lot more beneficial to your physical and mental health. But I feel like initially it's going to be a little bit of a private thing. What I will say is that Pluto might bring up some deep-seated fears and emotional issues, and bring those to the surface to kind of encourage you to face these things head on, which I know is like yay but nay. So make that goal of kind of like eliminating old patterns, shedding outdated beliefs about yourself, about your experiences and things like that. And your biggest transformations during the next 19 years are going to come from you confronting those darker kind of like shadows and ghosts during this time. So allow your psyche to kind of like allow Pluto to kind of shed light on what's in there. Let it come up, let it be addressed, and let it be purified and kind of released to spirit for transmutation. So I know it was a lot, but that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments how you guys are feeling about Pluto and Aquarius. What do you feel like the vibes are going to be like for the next 19 years? How are we navigating it? Let me know some suggestions on how to navigate it. I'm always open to like, you know, new suggestions on how to mediate like certain like intense energies. Remember to like this video and subscribe to my brand new channel. This channel is very new, so I appreciate all the love that I get. And also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. They're both linked in the description box below. And do message me or send me an email if you have any questions about Pluto in Aquarius. Happy healing, everyone!